So a lot of companies, a lot of people right now are talking about what is the metaverse, and they never explain what a metaverse is. A metaverse is a simple concept. It's a universe that lives inside of another universe. By this definition, there are a lot of metaverses that already exist in our world. You look at Harry Potter, that is a metaverse. You look at Lord of the Rings, that's a metaverse. You look at Lego, that's a metaverse. So, what's all the hype with the metaverse? Well, you accompany these ideas, these concepts with blockchain, you start getting some really interesting results and some really interesting capabilities, especially with cryptocurrency, decentralization. Now, imagine if you had, the Harry Potter world being fueled by its own cryptocurrency. What kind of possibilities do you have? What kind of possibilities do you have with DAOs? And I think that's the core concept. Metaverses exist in our world all the time. It's just taking that and putting it on the blockchain is what we're looking to do and why we're so excited. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's the same thing with the internet. When the internet was coming out, everybody was like, guys, internet, 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 internet. And unfortunately, it's the same thing now. People are desensitized to it. People are desensitized to metaverse. That stuff is everywhere now. They're desensitized to crypto, and they don't really know where to start. I think it's really important to get the fundamentals down and really understand the core concepts as why people are actually excited for this. And yeah, sure. But there's a reason why people are excited. There's a reason why there's a lot of investment. There's a lot of development in this space. So yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I think that's a really nice way to put it, and I hadn't looked at it in that way before. That there are universes within universe. You can get lost in the world of Harry Potter or Lego or a certain sport or musical field or artistic field. So that's a really nice way to look at it. When you juxtapose blockchain, crypto on top of that, then that is leading to the metaverse, I guess. But it's not a concept that is new to anyone, really. And really, we've all been in digital metaverses for a long time. As Facebook users within the Google ecosystem, going down YouTube rabbit holes, these are all metaverses in a way.
Yeah.
But is it more about the experience? Is it more about having the kit, the accessories? I get we live maybe in these little metaverses already, but is it not important to highlight the experience that this hype is generating?
What do you mean by experience?
Experience, goggles on, the different sort of world that you're entering.
I think that's the cherry on top. I think that's trying to entice people to get into the subject. The metaverse without VR still works. It's still a cool concept. So imagine if you can, you start with a baseline concept like Harry Potter, and you build out that world. You have that first, the developers that do that, and then the community takes over it. I think that core concept is really important in our world, in general, moving forward. The experience should be more communal. You look at gaming, same thing. You don't need VR for it. Sure, it's more immersive, and then yeah, you just look at it. You just look at all the different sectors. Like gaming is going to be one of the ones that really takes it to the next level with GameFi, DeFi. But yeah, it's just exciting times. It's just really unfortunate that we're at that stage of shilling a concept that people don't understand, and I think people should understand the concept before they even get into this blockchain crypto. That stuff is scary. Those words are scary for a lot of people.
Yeah, they are scary, but the shilling, I believe, occurs because these things need to be marketed, right? These are free market ideas put forward by capitalist participants, and portraying something as a brand new shiny concept that's never been done before, that's mind-blowing, is going to bring more eyes and attraction to it. So I think that's why it's being promoted in this way. But I think you're right, Camille. I think this is not a new concept, something that if you just scratch beneath the initial surface, is something we're all very familiar with and have been doing for years, if not decades.
Tell you what we haven't done. We haven't introduced ourselves.
You're right.
Take the floor, Camille.
My name is Camille. I've gotten into the crypto world 5 years ago. Started using Bitcoin to trade game items. I am currently working on a GameFi, DeFi, DAO, NFT, crypto, blockchain, a play to earn game called Metaplan if you want to check that out. And yeah, we've been working on that for a while. Baseline, we're trying to teach people about blockchain, about NFTs, about crypto, and I'm crypto curious. And the longer I'm in here, the longer I'm in this space, the more I realize that I don't know anything. Well, I know something, but nothing compared to these gentlemen over here. It's my first startup. I've been doing it for 3 years in the back end development. I've been doing the front end development, marketing, and so forth, token launches and fundraising and all this stuff. And it's overwhelming. But at the same time, when you look at it, there's so many things that I need to learn as somebody that's starting, a startup. And I think other people would be encouraged and would like to also hear how to do this, because this stuff is, it's simple but yet complicated. This world is a tad different from the regular business world, and I just want to learn from you guys. You guys have so much experience in this field, and whoever we do bring on in the future, I want to learn together, and make sure everybody knows what they're doing when they get into a startup, because this space can be tricky. It can be misleading. It can be very nerve-wracking. And that's just me. And Ismail, you really inspired me when I was in Dubai for those 2 days. Just the amount of knowledge, the amount of information, the front line of technology of blockchain in Dubai is amazing. For me, it's just the crypto world, the blockchain world goes so fast, and the fact that Dubai is one step ahead of that fascinates me. The people that I've met there were just like mind-blowing. 2 days there of 2 days of connections is just more than I've experienced in 3 or 4 months. And yeah, you guys are really inspiring. You guys know what you're doing, and I really hope to learn from you. So yeah, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us. It's good to have you here. Dubai is a bit of a vacuum for global talent now. So for us who've been here a little bit longer, knocking on 11 years or so, or just past 11 years, seeing that growth, not only in the tech space, blockchain space and beyond. I mean, food security, agriculture, sciences, healthcare, education, this goes beyond what we're talking about today, and also gives us a nice sort of precursor to evolving the podcasts that we'll be doing as Secret Sauce. So yeah, I guess you saw one layer or one silo of the potential here, and for us, we're fortunate because it just Dubai just keeps attracting the best of the best, and Abu Dhabi's creating its own sort of ecosystem when it comes to fund management, company formations, and trusts and foundations that are actually registered, and people that can hold their companies here as in holding companies. So having all of that in one ecosystem or one federal one federal entity really helps us. And also by proxy of those laws and capabilities, we are all ambassadors for the continuous growth of the UAE. So I think that's beneficial. And then we get to throw our hats in the ring as well and add some value through the experiences that we've gained. And I think doing these sort of podcasts give us an opportunity to share those experiences with the wider world, and get to meet people like you, Camille, and then form bridges and alliances and continue those relationships, which is what I've been doing through my business clubs and our own sort of little pet world that we have in the old world and new world. So yeah, it's all coming to light slowly. It looks really interesting.
That, Ismail, you should tell everyone about the clubs the networks that you run, and the animal metaverse that you're proposing?
So I think in time we can evolve those. I don't want to do too much of a me sort of thing. So Billy, introduce your amazing self.
Oh, it's very kind. I mean, I'm a friend of Ismail, also based in Dubai, in this wonderful place. I manage an crypto asset management company called Carter, which you guys can take a look at. Carter Capital is very low risk, aiming to return, only 100% per year only, which is of course amazing returns in the traditional world. In the crypto blockchain space, that is a very conservative return, as this space is developing and innovating year by year. Before that, I was living in London, working at an investment bank, with a long-standing interest in crypto running along at the same time. And it was very interesting to me to see that incumbents of the traditional financial world in London, one of the oldest and most historic places to do this business, were very closed off towards the possibilities of blockchain and crypto. As I continued to do my research and learn and understand more about this wonderful field, I became more and more fascinated and realized that this was not the future. This is the present, as well as the future. So I took the decision shortly after the beginning of COVID to step away from the traditional investment banking and finance world and dive headfirst into crypto and blockchain. And it's been a wonderful journey so far, and still learning every day from gentlemen still on the podcast that we have here today, and everyone else all around the world, and hope to learn more along this journey and share it with everyone that's with us.
I wanted to add just one thing. I mean, this world is evolving, this sort of tech world that we're all getting involved in. So I think it's important to note that we all have a responsibility to what we want this vision to look like, or what we want this world to look like. And I think, if everyone does a little bit in their own capacity, then it creates a picture of what the ultimate canvas will be. I think it's important for little communities like ours to add some value and add our thoughts.
And this is the whole point, right? You made this point earlier, Ismail, and this is something that you talk about a lot. We are all custodians. We're all curators of this world. The decentralized nature of blockchain means that there is not one single entity that controls this space, which you cannot say for the cases of governments and corporations and traditional entities that we are used to. So that is the key thing, one of the key things about this space, and empowers everyone that is participating in the blockchain world to be a custodian and be a curator and shape the future of where this is going.
And I think the more people who see that as a conscious awakening and not just idle chit chat in terms of ticking a few boxes on a corporate mandate, the more people that have that conscious understanding and awakening, because it is an awakening once you realize that we're only here for a segment of time, and we are custodians of everything we do, everything we touch. I think that realization becomes powerful, and then you start to gel with your tribe in the right way. And I think this sort of tribe element now is becoming a multi-factor. It's becoming a multiplier around the world, because the tribe's getting bigger through the enablement of technologies, the sort of transition of technology and how available these technologies are to a child in the Philippines who's able to tap into it, to somebody who's sitting in Wall Street in a position of power. That's how decentralized it is, and everyone's lives are being affected. So I think that's really important in terms of a long-term humanitarian goal, the legacy aspect of what it is we want to leave to the next generation and the generations after that.
I have a question. How does somebody get in? Because right now, it's developing so fast. You have all these different sectors, And like, how do you get in? It's scary, you know? It's like you can go and look at, okay, what is crypto on YouTube, or what is blockchain? It's just like, okay, do I get a degree? Do I have to, you know, start coding? Do I have to know people? Like, how do people get in instead of, you know, because the best way to really be in this space and really understand the awakening is to do your own projects. But that at the same time, you know, that takes time and resources and connections. So how do people get in? Because what I'm thinking, because I got lucky, the people that I met along the way, it just happened that, you know, we clicked and our puzzle pieces matched up. How do people get in if they don't have these connections? And I'm asking this because this space is so filled with scams. It's so filled with greed. It's so open to everybody. It's so open sourced, that, you know, there's gonna be always the really good innovative stuff, and then there's gonna be, you know, the stuff that the bad stuff that I think we've all been through, of the scams, of the greed, of, you know, manipulation, you know, trust issues. It's just the two worlds are so far apart. It's just, how do people get into the right field and the right sector? How do they get onto the right tracks of getting into this space and making sure that they don't fall into, you know, the pitfalls that I'm pretty sure I fell into some, or I'm aware of a good amount of them. But how do you guys reckon? Yeah.
It's a great question, and it's something that I hear a lot. I get asked a lot, and the response is quite simple. Firstly, there is no university of blockchain. There is no master's degree in crypto. Every single person who is in the blockchain space, the crypto space, has the same access to information as everyone else, and that is right here, and on the laptops and the tablets that we all have. Through this is how the person in the world, whoever he or she might be, who knows the most about blockchain and crypto, they have the same access to info as the rest of us. You know, this is not like traditional industries like medicine or law or banking, where you have to go to a certain university and do a certain degree, and as such be from a certain social class and be born in a certain country, and the lottery of life may not be so kind to you. Anybody around the world with a phone, with a device and an internet connection can learn on YouTube, Medium, Substack, and you can take any direction you want. You can learn how to code and you can build projects. You can learn how to invest either in public or private blockchain companies. You can be a analyst and a contributor and a commentator to what is going on. Whatever skills you have, you can find your home in this space. And in response to your second question, Camille, yes, of course, there are a lot of scams. We hear about them a lot, but look, it's a free market. It's largely unregulated, although that is changing very quickly day by day. And as such, when you're in the wild, wild west, you got to be aware that there are going to be a few, you know, bad actors that you need to avoid. So that is what I would say to that. And more people are waking up to this and creating content, absorbing content, and putting themselves out in the field to learn about this space.
I'd also add, you know, extremely important to do your own due diligence, and also go with the research that's available. There's so many projects out there. I think number one would be educate yourself in a generic sort of way, have an understanding of what these terminologies are, and then I think initially you need to have an interest in it. If it doesn't interest you, then you'll circumvent it and do something else. But I think ultimately all of these technologies are going to be prevalent in all of our lives, that in one way or another, the blockchain or NFT. You know, you may go to a concert and be given a stamp for your attendance at that event with an NFT. You know, we went for a dinner with Heinz Beck and we was given an NFT of the menu, something very unique. So I think it's important to have that sort of curiosity towards the industry. Number two would be educate yourself, have a look at the content that's out there, and look at 2 or 3 examples of what you're looking at. And then obviously, if you're going to invest into something, the old world mechanisms of due diligence, etc., apply. And I think the people who are presenting themselves as the founders of a project need to be looked at. And I think also the sort of past experience of those people. So let's say they've just turned up on the scene 6 months ago with a project that they're pitching to the market. You need to know where they were before those 6 months. Who are they? Where were they? If you're going to slap $1 million onto something, you need to ask some hard questions. Lawyers need to be involved. And I know not every project is at that scale, but if you're investing $100 or $1,000, you need to complete some high level of due diligence in your own capacity. So that would be my sort of take on it. And also, don't put all your eggs into the same basket.
Yeah, I think the due diligence part is very important because this space is going so fast that people completely, disregard that aspect and doing their own research 100%. I think that applies in every aspect of life, that people should really do their own research and not listen to other people's opinions and just seek out the facts for themselves, But yeah,
community is important. Be a part of these communities. They're a little bit more mature. They have groups. The ones that we're a part of. Some closed Telegram groups. And what you find is the human blockchain coming into work. People validating people, and you're able to trace those transactions, those real world transactions between people, and build a picture of how tangible that project is or those people are.
And I would add one more thing, which is, come out of the grandstands and enter the playing field. Get yourself an account on an exchange, start buying some cryptos, start learning about blockchain, start interacting with people on Discord, on Reddit, on Telegram. Get out there and start learning. That's exactly what I did. Everyone that, as I said, wants to learn can learn. Don't be put off by these big crazy words and acronyms like NFT. The information is out there. If you are intellectually curious and you're willing to learn, you will learn. And it's the great thing about this space. It attracts and collects people of a like-minded nature who want to learn, want to progress, are curious, and we're all together developing this space together.
Yeah, and it's the unfortunate thing is, well, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not, but as Ismail said, you'll find something. That's the thing though. How do people get in that don't even know that they want to get in? That's my question. Because the people that want to get in will get in. They'll do their research and they'll find their tribe. How about the people that have no clue, don't care, but should care? Because everybody should care about blockchain, and hopefully soon, we'll have blockchain programs for kids around the world just so they get the baseline concepts. But how do you really entice people that are sick of this, are sick of crypto, or the word crypto, or sick of the word metaverse, sick of the word, blockchain? How do you really be like, guys, okay, you know what? Like, just sit down, make sure that you understand, or because there's something for everybody here. It's not just about crypto. It's not just about money. It's not just about finance. Not just about shilling or any of this. You look at all of the the blockchain capabilities. Is just, I think we were having this conversation earlier about cryptocurrency being, that taboo word. It was like crypto, just like, and then you look at blockchain, the things that blockchain can do with decentralization, with just that technology in food, agriculture, science, education, technology, everything. It can improve environment. I think there's something for everybody. It's just getting beyond that point. How do they get beyond that point without having a centralized authority telling you what to learn? How do we be like, okay, guys, blockchain is cool. There's just so many different aspects. I think that's why we're really excited about it, because we can talk about it for hours, because there's just so many things that you can develop on blockchain. So how do you get these people? Yeah.
Look, I don't think you can push blockchain down everyone's throat in that sort of manner. You need to be a bit more, it has to happen with a more passive approach. So the way generally these projects are adopted is you need an entity to make a decision to implement the blockchain. So let's take an agriculture or a service provider somewhere in India, somewhere where agriculture is huge. you need to find a methodology how that blockchain is going to harness and benefit that farmer who's a wheat farmer, for instance. So once that adoption starts to happen and you find processes that can be adapted, where the blockchain can be used, then it starts to become mass adoption. At the moment, I think it's predominantly used in a contractual basis, you know, especially in the banking sector, because validation is important. So in terms of it being mass adopted, I think that's going to take time. There's a cost involved to it. There's a transition of knowledge that takes a huge amount of time, and that knowledge has to go to the tiers. So owners, managers, you know, people who are service individuals in these companies in an everyday society. So that mass adoption will take time. And that's why I think you find it's only a segment of the population that understand it, know it, use it, invest in it. So that mass adoption, I think we're way off a sort of global adaptation of blockchain.
I think it's our responsibility as current custodians and people in the game to show in a very comfortable, easy to understand way the applications of blockchain and crypto, showing people that this is not a taboo space. You can understand this very easily, and here are the applications and benefits to your everyday life. It's really incumbent upon us as the people in the space to offer that on-ramp to people out there into this space. And, you know, that's one of the things I considered in setting up Carter Capital. Coming from the space I was, the investment and the banking space, I wanted to have a very easy, low risk, safe way for people to gain crypto investment exposure for the first time. And that is what people in every other space, be it the metaverse, NFT, whatever, these initiatives are out in every sector of our industry. And adoption is increasing all the time. You know, I hope very soon that there will be blockchain taught in schools, in colleges, on TV. That would be the best thing for this space.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you picked up on, the one thing I love are NFTs. And like the barrier that where we're at right now with, you know, these monkey JPEGs is just like, that's why I'm doing this podcast too, because NFTs, when it comes to, okay, for instance, the one application where I can see NFTs being used and being mass adopted is authentication of products, anything. So what I mean by this is, for instance, if you have a diamond and you want to make sure that this diamond isn't a blood diamond or has been sourced ethically, you can make that diamond, you can accompany it with an NFT. And you can have, you know, verifiability of legitimacy. Like, look at all these fake products coming into the market. With NFTs, you can make sure that these products are legitimate. Everything. You can have food. For instance, you can have, you know, coffee beans. You can have shoes, clothes, cars, anything. There's so many fake products, and I think that's going to be one thing that's going to be really important. And one thing I want to say is I'm an actual fan of CBDCs, or centrally backed digital currencies. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people in this space actually frown upon it. But for me, that merger, when CBDCs are put on chain and are accompanied with decentralized cryptos, that's when you're going to see that real growth. You're going to have this beautiful merger of centralization and decentralization. And once these two markets really combine, both of them are going to grow together. I really don't understand why people have such an issue with it. Like, when CBDC is just digital money, right?
I can tell you why people have a problem with it. You know, central bank digital currencies are coming, and they're going to come very soon. But we can look at the mess that central banks have put fiat currencies in right now, the dollar and the euro, you know, without going into too much detail. So there is a fear that these digital currencies, which are in essence normal fiat currencies controlled by governments on blockchain, the same thing can happen there, which could tarnish some of the positive images that cryptos, decentralized cryptos have. But in essence, I do agree with you, Camille, that when these CBDCs come, they will be a rising tide that lifts decentralized cryptos up with them.
Yeah. The application, because the things that I see, and when you reputation of decentralized currencies, I don't know, that's an iffy one, in my opinion. But like CBDCs, the technologies that I see really, mass adopting and taking advantage of blockchain requires CBDCs. You look at, like, if, for instance, if you're doing a massive agriculture, if you're doing massive infrastructure, if you're doing, if you're trying to fund projects, especially on blockchain, that are legitimate and large scale and really grand thinking, people that aren't into cryptos, no, some people don't care. The reputation of cryptos is pretty iffy. The technology is cool, but the word crypto, that one word can spark a lot of different images in your mind. And for me, it's wishy-washy. But yeah, it's not where it would be if, for instance, I would say, okay, here I have a blockchain technology, and I'm taking CBDCs. Boom. Perfect. You're gonna have a lot more investors, in my opinion, with CBDCs at that point than regular crypto, because crypto is the wild west, right? And yeah, it all depends on what governments do with CBDCs and how they want to implement them.
My 2 cents would be to phase out the word crypto, because it's become so tarnished, and also it's associated with so much that's wrong over the last 10 years about sort of the spin-off of the industry. Might be a better terminology to call it CBDC, because I think for the long-term success of the industry as a whole, and the implementation of a financial angle to it, you just have to look. There's 18,500 plus coins at the moment. And the world in itself is 260 or so plus countries. I mean, even if every country in the world had a central bank backed coin, it wouldn't reach 18,000 plus. So I think we really need to take a hard look at some of these utility coins and security tokens and start filtering them out, and maybe creating something that can be packaged and presented back to the public, a bit like what they did with Corona. They started giving Corona Latin names.
Who do you propose should be the entity that does this filtration?
So again, we're looking at a decentralized world, right? So living in this decentralized world, the people who are active in it have to take a conscious decision and say, do you know what? My coin doesn't have any relevance.
Yeah, well, I think that's happening, right? I disagree with you somewhat. I think that the and I'm going to use the word crypto. The crypto universe is self-regulating. It's fairly clear which coins and tokens don't have any value and are completely useless, and it's fairly clear which ones do have a use and a value. It takes a little bit of research. You can look at one of these oracles like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko. You can see which ones have the largest market cap and are the most trusted by the community. And there you go. Just because there are 18,500 coins and tokens doesn't mean you have to invest in every single one. As soon as you start placing limitations on who can create a token, under which guise, under which premise, to do which utility, you start to lose that decentralized nature of this space, which I love so much. And I wouldn't like anyone from the outside telling anyone inside, hey, you can't do this within the blockchain space.
What I mean is more the terminology of crypto. I think the way in which it's perceived needs to be rebranded or repackaged.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I make a strong point to always refer to these things, coins and tokens, as crypto, not cryptocurrencies. Because aside from a small portion of stable coins, these are not currencies. You don't use them to pay your bills or buy groceries. These are different things. These are digital assets. So I refer to them as crypto. You could use digital asset, virtual asset. To me, as a Puritan and as someone who's been in this game a while, I'll probably refer to it as crypto. CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, they will be cryptos. They will be centralized and controlled by governments and central banks, but they will also be cryptos.
But it sounds serious, you know, it sounds like it's a tangible asset when you call it a central bank backed digital currency. It starts to have some weight to it.
Technically, every crypto is a CBDC. It's essentially backed by their own assets. You know what I mean? Or by assets that are controlled by that crypto. It all depends on how that crypto is structured too. But yeah, moving forward,
to know what those assets are as well, and where that valuation comes from. I think a lot of the time you can't see that. Is what are those tangible assets, and who is doing the valuation, and based on what?
Well, some of the leading cryptos do have that. So there are stable coins. One comes to mind, which is called DAI. You can actually go and see what assets are backing each single stable coin and all of the DAI in circulation. Now that index is not available for some stable coins, which are even larger and more used than DAI. So again, DAI is becoming more and more popular, more and more used, and the ones which are less transparent are becoming less used and less popular. So the crypto ecosystem, the blockchain ecosystem, is self-regulating and promoting those projects which are more transparent, stronger than those that are not.
Yeah.
Coming to stable coins, DAI. I love DAI. DAI is so cool. I know like a surface level understanding of it because I know that it's backed by other cryptos. But Bilal, if you can elaborate on DAI, because I find DAI to be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So DAI is one of the many stable coins that are in circulation at the moment. A stable coin, I think it's important to just elaborate a little bit on what that is. A stable coin is a crypto whose price is pegged to the value of a fiat currency. So in the case of DAI, USDT, which is Tether, USDC, which is Circle, two of the most prominent and popular stable coins, the price is pegged to the value of the dollar, meaning one token will always equal $1. And there are some fluctuations as there are violent market movements and there are changes in the composition of the backing of these stable coins. But broadly speaking, their objective is to remain pegged at $1. And this helps people store value on the blockchain, knowing that the price of that particular crypto won't go up and down. The price of Bitcoin goes up 20%, 30% very frequently on a monthly and a weekly basis. It's impossible to keep any value stable when the price is going like that. If I want to send Ismail $100, then I'm going to send him stable coins. That's what they are used for. And just as a side note, to link back to what we were just talking to, the elevation of prominence of these stable coins is what has captured the attention of central banks and governments, and is what has encouraged them to start developing central bank digital currencies, because these have the possibility to replace fiat currencies, and in many cases they have. In the case of DAI, you can see on their website what assets are backing all of the DAI in circulation. So the total circulation of DAI at the moment is just over $9 billion. That is backed at a ratio of around 1.5x by Bitcoin, Ethereum, other cryptocurrencies, and traditional financial assets. As such, you know that your DAI is backed by something. The US dollar, you don't have that information. The US dollar was removed from the gold standard in the 1970s. Each dollar is not backed by anything. As we've seen in the last 2 years, the US Federal Reserve can arbitrarily decide to create dollars at the click of a finger. Same with the European Central Bank, same with the Bank of Japan. These stable coins are somewhat different, and in that aspect, they can be perceived as being a little bit stronger.
Yeah, the one thing that got me, because like stable coins are they are a concept that's simple after you understand it, but to really grasp the concept, you have to understand a little bit of finance in order to get it. The one thing that always gets me is that I'm sorry.
Sorry, my apologies. I was going to add something. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
No, please. I want to hear what you were saying.
Well, it wasn't that interesting, but the thing I was gonna say is once you put in that dollar, once that $1 is backed or supposedly backed. Let's not talk about Tether right now.
Yeah.
I haven't been following them, but yeah, that has been a storm in this world. But that $1 in 10 years, it's still gonna be backed by that initial first dollar, and it doesn't matter. Like inflation doesn't do anything to it. It's still gonna be okay. It's still a dollar. It's like okay, well, do I have to add any more dollars to it in order for it to be worth a dollar? No. That $1 is still going to be worth. That one stable coin. Let's just say USDT is going to be worth that $1 10 years down the road, based on the initial $1 investment, as opposed to if you do that with regular fiat currencies, how much are you left with at the end of those 10 years, right? So that's the thing that blows my mind. It's such a simple concept that you have that it doesn't change. It doesn't deflate, and it's just like wow, that entire is just the beginning of something great.
I think that had to be introduced to create security for serious investors. The pegged coins are there so that you can basically attract institutional investors from all over the world, or serious VCs who want to be involved in the crypto markets. Correct me if I'm wrong, Billy. I mean, that would make sense as to why you'd introduce a stable coin, because the average investor, or the Joe Blogs from down the road or whoever, they're not looking for that stable coin. They're just looking at it as an alternative investment, some fun. But when the big boys come knocking and they've got tens of millions that they want to offset into another market, you have to give them something to entice them. So that's where I think the old world and the new world have to synergize.
Absolutely, but here's the paradox, right? So DAI was created by MakerDAO, which is a private enterprise, and it is a DeFi platform. So these guys are in it for themselves. They are creating a market-based platform for people to trade upon, and they saw that there was a need for a very robustly and securely backed stablecoin, and they created it. This was not created by a government or a central bank or a lofty banking institution or audit institution. This was created by a private group of individuals. So I would love to see this innovation continue. I wouldn't like to see it stifled by people coming in and imposing their will on this ecosystem. If you look hard enough, you will find good projects like this that are offering real utility to everyone in the world. And Ismail, you mentioned these institutions. Given what I do as running an asset management company, I speak to these institutions very regularly. And yes, they do like to see these kinds of things. It really depends on the risk appetite of each investor. Some investors are willing to take on that risk and invest in something a bit earlier in light of a larger return. Some investors, like the ones I cater towards, they want to see something very, very low risk and secured, in which case something like DAO, MakerDAO, and the DAI stablecoin is something they would likely use.
I think DAI is also really cool too, because with regards to regulations, people creating their own stablecoins now is dangerous territory, especially if you're backing it. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. That's why I'm here to learn. But yeah, DAI being backed by cryptos, in order to hit that with regulation is going to be pretty hard, in my opinion. As opposed to, USDT has been in hot water for a while. USDC is fine because, they're regulated. But yeah, DAI is something really interesting. And yeah, I think they're doing something really cool. And anybody listening here should really look into DAI as a stable coin if they want to understand. If you can understand DAI, you will understand stable coins, all of them. So yeah, and all other cool ones. You have you have stablecoins backed by gold, by silver, by assets. Just like so cool. And yeah, it's really interesting stuff. Just even beyond any kind of business opportunities that you want to explore. Just ideas and the concepts and what people are doing are just really innovative, really smart, and yeah, it's really inspiring.
Absolutely. I mean, look, the best way to learn, as we said, is to dive right in. To dive in, start using this stuff, invest a little bit of money, whatever a little bit means for you, and start learning. And as you do, you are going to fall down the rabbit hole, as we all have done, and learn all of the intricacies and the beauties of DAI and everything else similar to it.
Bilal, what should we invest in? No investment advice, but what should we invest in?
No, I think you should invest in yourself and start learning, because I can't just give a blanket advice to what you should invest in. Everyone has different investment objectives. Everyone has different risk tolerances. Everyone has different time frames that they think of in terms of an investment. So understand what is your personal answer to each of those three things. Start doing a little bit of research into what's going on in the crypto space, and then give me a call and I'll advise you on it. But I can't give a blanket answer to that.
That's the best answer anyone's ever given. Honestly, invest in yourself. I mean, that's applaudable, commendable. I think if anyone's got anything to take away from today's inaugural podcast is invest in yourself. That's a massive lesson. And it's a continuous learning experience as well. You know, we learn from each other and we learn from our daily experiences. So it's a continuous experience. Learning is every second, every minute, every day.
Absolutely. If you spend 1 hour
in a fast changed world,
if you spend 1 hour reading Medium articles and white papers, and you learn 3 things in 1 hour, that's 1 hour well spent. That leaves you better informed for the rest of your life. So the multiplier effect of learning and studying is not just that at that moment, in that hour, and those things that you learn. It is the more beneficial impact that those 3 things you've learned have on every single thing you do and every single thought you have into perpetuity.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree on that, on the statement of investing in yourself. I'm not sure what your journeys, guys, have been in this world, but I think that it kind of irons out, or is it? Yeah, irons out, or the wrinkles in your personality when it comes to, for instance, you know, I think pride is something that in general is you know, pretty toxic. But in this space, it's extremely important not to have pride, because you can't, like, the people that I see that are working on the biggest projects, they don't care. They don't care about being like, oh, I'm the CEO of, well, X whatever $1 billion company. They don't care. It's just like, well, the thing that fuels us, you know, is innovation, science, knowledge, information, and I think that's something that's, yeah, to take away. That I don't think, like, okay, yeah, money is obviously a cool thing to have here, but the experiences that you gain, the people that you can talk to, is just the communication, opening up your world to a different mindset, and just being completely open. And I think, yeah, once you invest in yourself every day and say, hey, I'm gonna do this, you know, I'm gonna work, and understanding the tribe mentality of the people that are in this space as well. That's why I love talking to you guys. You know, it's really easy.
What's beautiful is in the old world, or the world where I grew up, and I think people a little bit older will understand, in the sort of corporate world, it was very much a win-lose approach to what you did. You know, you'd work with another agency, or you'd work with, you know, it was pretty cutthroat. But what I'm really seeing, and I love being part of this transition into the hybrid of old and new, is that it's very much a win-win. You know, so we look at scenarios, or we work towards scenarios where everybody benefits. And I think that conscious understanding is important again. And through technology, not only through the blockchain, but through various different pioneering technologies. And trust me, there's so many out there that we'd probably need 2 lifetimes to understand exactly what's going on. So that evolution of technology, coupled with the time that we have, I think is intriguing to see. You know, real life cases, real life success stories, and that ability for people to work towards something that is for the greater good, and in the back of their minds know that they're trying to carve out something that is win-win, is always something positive to take away. It's very easy to look at what's going wrong in the world, but we forget how enabled we are to do good as well, and how capable we are of doing that and helping people along the way. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The whole win-win mentality, because you get in here to make money, right? I think that's what everybody does. They don't get into blockchain being like, oh hey, I'm broke. Let me save the environment. Doesn't work that way. But yeah, once you adapt that win-win mindset and everybody's on that same page, yeah, the good of blockchain, what it can do, the positivity, blockchain helping humanity, it's such a strong statement, people that don't understand blockchain, that don't understand this technology, they'll be like, what are you talking about? How is that even possible? You guys are just, in it for the money, and get in, start doing, your own research. And once you find your tribe, you'll understand that everybody is, once I don't remember who this was. When I was actually at the conference, Global Tech Innovation Summit in Dubai, somebody said that money is, I'm not sure who this was, money is a sign of trust. And that to me was just like, that did something to my brain. That makes
got a fourth
so much
guest
sense.
coming on screen now.
This is our podcast's first official guest, Mr. Benji, and his favorite toy.
Hello.
So he likes to come and say hi at unexpected moments.
Ask him what cryptos to buy.
He's quite into his Teddy coin.
Right.
His Benji coin. Finish what you were saying though. That's a really valid point and probably a high point to end on, Camille.
Yeah, so money is synonymous with trust, and once you start trying to attain money, especially in this field, you have to give, and you also have to get trust from other people. And once you get that, you join this kind of world where everybody is doing their own thing, but understanding that they're a part of a collective, that they're a part of a movement. And that trying to be, the one person to be like, oh, I'm the boss. We're all bosses here.
So actually, there's a valid point to raise there. So in this old world that I call them, the madmen of the world, the sort of 9-to-5 corporate sort of world, it was very much about, dog eat dog, do it for yourself, right? So now we're realizing post-COVID even more that it is about everybody else, including yourself, adding value, that win-win mentality. So that's why I think I wrote something at the start of COVID, it's published somewhere, where I said the madmen of old are dead, the old world are dead. And I believe that because I think the post sort of COVID and lockdown life, or the life we're living now, has shown us that that model couldn't sustain itself, that win-lose model. So this sort of where you're feeling part of a tribe, or you're feeling inclusive in the ecosystems that you meet or operate in, is the way it's going to evolve. It has to evolve that way. There's no other way for it to happen, because the other model can't sustain itself.
It cannot. And I'll leave my closing thoughts as well, is that this space is growing so fast. More and more capital is piling in, more and more participants are coming in, which means if you are here and you're in this space and you are early, because we're still very early, you will be successful. And whatever success means to you, monetary benefit, improving conditions in your specific field, adding to humanity and society in whichever way you believe in, you will be successful if you apply yourself in this field, because it's growing so fast.
And goes back to a little bit of what we said early on, where we pioneer our own projects, our own ideas. We can be a part of this landscape. You don't do something, you say, well, you may need the help of others, but I think it's important to pioneer your own vision and bring it to fruition.
Yeah, my closing remarks would be it's really ironic how much closer I feel, and how much more connected I feel to humanity and people because of the isolation with regards to COVID. You're sitting here alone at home, and then you really understand and appreciate the internet. You appreciate these connections online, like they're real. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I had an essay in high school about does the internet persuade or dissuade social interaction? Well, look at the results, and like we start appreciating these things now that we're alone. That we can communicate. I can call my mom or call my grandma from a different part of the world, and I think that it doesn't necessarily you don't necessarily have to be together. Like being next, like in physical space. Like to me, the lines are getting drawn. The lines are getting blurry with respect to physical presence versus virtual. To me, it's kind of like it's the same thing. It's getting there, and I think that's there's always a plus side to even the most unfortunate circumstances, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Likewise, and I'm really
Awesome.
glad to be part of this group we put together. First conversation we had was amazing, and look forward to learning a lot more with you and everyone else on this journey together.
Ditto. I second that. And I've got a feeling we'll probably have 1 million viewers in the first week or so. Phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Camille, do you want to sign us off?
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're looking forward to a lot more of these conversations. I know we've been hitting a lot of topics, and yeah, the next episodes are going to be more refined, more focused on, for instance, one single entity. And my personal passion is science, so I want to move this towards pure scientific realm. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of guests on the show. We're going to be talking about a lot of different subjects, and I thank you guys for being here and taking the time out of your day to do this. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Thanks, guys.
Amazing. Thanks. See you all soon.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Ciao. Bye.